The Election Commission has already sent the ballot papers and other polling materials, including stamp pads, official seals, marking seals, to every district. Army, BGB, police, RAB and other law enforcement agencies have been deployed across the country to avoid any untoward situation. Foreign observers and journalists have already arrived in Bangladesh to observe tomorrow's election. A total of 25,900 observers of the country will also observe the election. A total of 122 election inquiry committees formed by the Election Commission are working in all constituencies of the country. Executive and judicial magistrate will also work in the election. The Election Commission will have votes using electronic voting machines, EVM, in 6 constituencies for the first time. The constituencies are Dhaka 6 and 13, Chattogram 9, Rangpur 3, Khulna 2 and Satkhira 2. To introduce the voters with EVM, a mock voting has already been conducted in the concerned area. A total of 10,42,38,677 voters, including 5,25,72,365 male and 5,16,66,212 female, are being expected to cast their votes tomorrow. There are 40,183 polling centres, 2,07,312 polling booths across the country. A total of 39 registered political parties are participating in this election. There are 1,861 candidates, where 1,733 of political parties and 128 of independent candidates will race in the election. Chief Election Commissioner K.M. Nurul Huda has urged the voters across the country to vote for their favourite candidates, defying all temptation and fear. He made the call while briefing the journalists at Media Centre of Nirbachan Bhavan in Agarga today. CEC said all the necessary preparations have been completed to hold a free, fair and neutral election. Electronic voting machines and other utensils will reach the respective centres by tonight, he added. K.M. Nurul Huda directed the concerned electoral officers to discharge their duties without any fear. Referring to the record number contestants in the 11th general election, the CEC said sufficient number of law and order enforcement agencies have been deployed all over the country. The BNP has engaged in hatching conspiracies to foil the election as leaked telephone conversation of its leaders and documents recovered from party men reveal. The leakage revealed plots to make election questionable through violence and false allegations. The telephonic conversation between BNP leaders leaked their diverse plots on ways and means to make the ballot counting questionable and foil the election. The telephone talk between BNP leaders Modud Ahmed and Barkatullah Bulu projected the clear divide in the BNP and intra-fighting in the party. Some conversation indicate that the BNP leaders are provoking sabotage on the balloting day. BNP has stopped printed appeals in advance to the presiding officers stating vote rigging had taken place, and also appeals alleging both supporters had stopped them from casting ballots. Law enforcers recovered such printed applications from Noakhali BNP leaders' residence and at police checkposts. The incidents proved that BNP wants to fish in murky water, making the country unstable and foil the election. Prime Minister and Awami League President Sheikh Hasina has cautioned people, including party candidates, against possible election boycott by the opposition in the middle of voting as part of a trick and advised them to stay in centres till the polls end. Sheikh Hasina's comments came after she visited wounded party leader of Dinajpur Dr. Mahbubul Islam at Dhaka Combined Military Hospital CMH this morning, as he was admitted to the facility with critical injuries caused by BNP Jamaat attacks. She asked Awami League candidates and candidates of other parties to continue polls until its completion. The Awami League president asked the party representatives and agents to stay in every polling centre until announcement of the results. The Awami League chief said although the BNP Jamaat killed 6 of her party men and injured 100 ahead of the elections, she requested her party followers to have patience. Urging people to cast their votes, the Awami League president said her party struggled a lot to establish democracy and the voting rights of people. Maintaining the continuation of democracy is urgently needed for development. If this development continues, Bangladesh will be more prosperous, she said.
Different international mass media expressed prediction that Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina is forming government again, winning the 11th Parliament elections. The Guardian of the United Kingdom published a report on December 27 in which it said that election situation is prevailing in favor of Sheikh Hasina. The Guardian said Sheikh Hasina developed Bangladesh to one of the fastest growing economy in the world. Per capita income increased 3 times and growth rate prevailing over 6% over the last 10 years. Besides, average lifespan of the people of Bangladesh reached 72 years, which is higher than India and Pakistan. Considering these issues, The Guardian said, voters of Bangladesh will support Awami League in the elections. Meanwhile, Bloomberg of the United States of America in one of its reports say, high economic growth and rising trend in the financial sector will help voters to render their support in favor of Sheikh Hasina-led Awami League. As a result, Sheikh Hasina assuming power for the 3rd time in a row is brightening before the election. The Time magazine also published a report about Bangladesh Parliament election. In its report, Time said voters of Bangladesh will support Awami League as Sheikh Hasina's government has brought huge development across the country during its last 2 terms. On the occasion of the 11th national elections, the Election Commission imposed a general bar on all types of motor vehicles commencing Saturday midnight till Sunday midnight. Besides, restriction has been imposed on motorcycles for 4 days from December 28 midnight to January 1 midnight. The ban will be relaxed for the candidates, their agents, local and foreign observers having approvals of the returning officers. The ban will also be relaxed for the media vehicles to be used for local and foreign newsmen on condition of having their ID cards. Besides, the vehicles of the officials who will be engaged in election duties, law enforcement agencies, ambulance, fire service and civil defense, electricity, gas and telecom will be kept out of purview of the ban.
Now international news. Police in Egypt have killed dozens of militants during security raids on their hideouts, the Interior Ministry has said. The raids killed 40 terrorists in Giza and North Sinai on Saturday morning, according to a statement from the ministry. It said the militants were planning a series of attacks on tourist sites, churches and military personnel. The raids followed Friday's roadside bomb attack on a tour bus in Giza. No group has yet said it was behind the blast, which killed 3 Vietnamese tourists and an Egyptian tour guide, but Islamist militants have targeted tourists in Egypt in the past. A strong earthquake of 6.9 magnitude struck off the southern Philippine island of Mindanao today, raising fears of dangerous tsunami. There were no reports of casualties or damage from the earthquake. The U.S. Geological Survey said the earthquake struck 193 kilometers east of the Philippine city of General Santos at a depth of 60 kilometers. The Pacific Tsunami Warning Center initially said hazardous tsunami waves were possible within 300 kilometers of the epicenter, along the coasts of the Philippines, Indonesia and the Pacific island nation of Palau. But about 2 hours after the quake struck, the center said there was no longer a tsunami threat. Indonesia has been struck by a tsunami a week ago that killed more than 400 people. The Syrian army has entered the key northern city of Manbij for the first time in 6 years, an army spokesman has said. However, the US-led coalition operating in the area said it had not seen military changes inside Manbij. A US official and a UK-based monitoring group said Syrian troops had deployed in the area around the city. US-backed Kurds withdrew and invited Syrian forces to replace them amid fears that Turkish troops would attack. Turkey considers the US-backed Kurdish YPG forces to be part of a terrorist group.
Awami League General Secretary Obadul Qadir has said the people of the country will re-elect the Awami League-led 14-party alliance government in the general election to continue ongoing development process. He said this to the journalists at the Noakhali district unit of Awami League office today. Obadul Qadir said BNP leaders have become frustrated, sensing sure defeat in the 11th parliamentary elections to be held tomorrow. He said the government is extending its support to the Election Commission for holding a free, fair and credible election. Jashod President Hassanul Haq Inu has said there is no alternative to Sheikh Hasina for building Bangladesh as a peaceful and prosperous country, free from all kinds of evil forces. He said this while talking to the journalists at his residence at Golapnagar and Bhadamara in Kushtia today. Hassanul Haq Inu expressed hope that voters will apply their rights tomorrow in a festive mood, riding over conspiracies, rumors and provocations. Awami League Election Management Committee urged the mass media to be alert so that none could question and foil the festive election. Awami League Election Management Committee co-chairman H.T. Imam said this while addressing a press conference at Media Center of Awami League Central Office in the capital today. H.T. Imam hoped Awami League will form the government again with an overwhelming support and love from the people. Citing international media and reports of survey agencies that support this, he urged journalists to serve objective and information-based news. Now news on weather. The weather is expected to remain cold with light to moderate fog. Meteorologists said voters will have to cover themselves in warm clothes while going to cast their votes tomorrow, as a severe cold wave will be engulfing Bangladesh on the election day. Met Office said severe cold wave is sweeping over regions of Rajshahi, Panchgod, Dinajpur, Kurigram and Chuadanga, while mild to moderate cold wave is sweeping over Mymensingh, Dhaka and Borishal divisions. Moreover, mild to moderate cold wave is sweeping over the rest parts of Rangpur, Rajshahi and Khulna divisions and the regions of Shondip, Sitakundo, Rangamati, Kumilla, Feni, Srimangul, and it may continue. Weather may remain dry with temporary partly cloudy sky over the country, while light to moderate fog may occur at some places during the late night to tomorrow morning. The country's minimum temperature was recorded 5.2 degrees Celsius at Rajarhat of Kurigram today.
Now news on sports. India is very close to winning the Boxing Day test against Australia. They need only 2 wickets to win this test in the last day in Melbourne tomorrow. Australia need 141 runs to avoid the defeat, which is almost impossible to collect in the last day. The Aussies scored 258 runs for 8 in their second innings at stumps of day 4, chasing the victory target of 399 runs. Earlier, India started their 4th day's batting with the overnight score of 54 runs for 5. They declared their second innings on 106 runs for 8. Australia were all out on 151 runs in their first innings in reply of India's 443 runs. The 4 matches test series is levelling by 1-1. Sri Lanka scored 231 runs for 6, chasing the victory target of 660 runs against New Zealand at stumps of day 4 in the Christchurch test. The Lankans need another 429 runs more to win this test, while they have only 1 day and 4 wickets remaining. Earlier, the Lankans started their 4th day's batting with the overnight score of 24 runs for 2. New Zealand declared their second innings on 585 runs for 4. Sri Lanka scored 104 runs in their first innings in reply of New Zealand's 178 runs. And now to end the bulletin, a repeat of the top stories. Preparations complete for polling of 11th Parliament election tomorrow. Polling to continue non-stop from 8 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon. CEC urges all to cast vote freely, staying above bullying and gratification. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina urges people and partymen to stay alert against attempt to make election questionable. Sheikh Hasina to form government again, winning election, forecasts international media. Boat shall reach port of victory in glorious month of victory, says optimist Obaidul Qadir. Egypt police kill 40 militants after bus attack near Giza pyramids. And in Melbourne Boxing Day test, India only 2 wickets away from winning as Australia scored 258 for 8 on 4th day.
That's all from the newsroom for the moment. Thank you for staying with us, and we invite you to watch our 11:30 Bangla News.